Welcome to Salisbury University on the Air, a program highlighting the activities and the people of the campus. My name is Susan Purnell. Shakespeare once said, "If music be the food of love, play on." With that as inspiration, SU provides a veritable smorgasbord during its annual Spring Music Festival this April and May, and the cuisine has a new world flavor. Joining me to discuss the variety of music offered during this year's festival are Dr. Bill Folger, Chair of the Department of Music, and Dr. Jeff Schoyen, Director of the Salisbury Symphony Orchestra. First is Bill. Bill, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Great to see you again.
Thank you.
I get spring and Christmas no matter what, right?
I know, and I love the spring weather we're having. It's a great day.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about the Spring Festival this year. What's the theme?
Sure, our theme is three H's. So it's from Havana to Harlem to Hollywood, a tribute to the music of the Americas.
Oh, that's great. And I know the opera workshop starts, I think, April 25th to 26th. Can you tell me about its theme?
Yes, the opera workshop theme is a tribute to Aaron Copland and Leonard Bernstein.
That's great. What are some of the works that we can expect to hear?
In the first act, you will hear some of his folk songs in quartet, some solos. For instance, Simple Song, which is probably one of the well-known pieces, At the River, Ching-a-ring, Ching-cha, which is a minstrel song, and The Promise of Living from the Tenderland Opera. And then the second act features Bernstein's Mass, a theatrical piece for singers, players, and dancers.
Was there some controversy about Bernstein's Mass?
Yeah, in 1971, when it was premiered at the opening of the Kennedy Center, it was a lot of, of course, the church had some issues with it, and some rightly so if you look at it in one way. It talks about some doubt, within that. But, Bernstein was very intrigued with the Mass, and so there's a lot of wonderful quoting of the sacred text. And it uses jazz elements, so maybe that had something to do with a little bit of the controversy as well.
Oh, like a hint of sacrilege for a Mass?
It might be construed as a little of that. I don't think, necessarily meant it to be that way. And it's not meant to be a Mass at a church service, okay?
Right,
It's a concert piece.
It's a concert Mass.
Yes,
yeah.
that's correct.
Why has that remained a part of the repertoire?
I think in part because Bernstein, as Copland is iconic in American music, and it has all the elements, eclectic styles, jazz, classics, chant, Gregorian chant in that mess. So I think that's why it's remained in the repertoire.
Now, Dr. John Wesley Wright, who I'd love to listen to, I believe is directing the Mass. Is that correct?
He is, and along with Professor Tom Anderson.
Okay.
Yes.
And he has some interesting ties to the Bernstein Mass. Is that right?
That's correct. In Dayton, Ohio, he did a premiere of the contiguous United States and on the 40th anniversary of the Mass, and it was with the Dayton Philharmonic and a huge group of university students, and he performed the role of the celebrant, in which he'll be performing for us.
Oh, he will?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. I love to listen to him. What other faculty are involved in the opera workshop?
We have actually a guest J1 scholar. He's actually graduated from a university in Germany, and he's here teaching guitar, so he'll be playing in the ensemble with us. Professor Anderson, I mentioned, is co-directing, and all the rest are students.
Oh, that's right. So it's some faculty, but mostly students.
That's correct.
That's great. Now, when and where will this workshop take place?
It opens Friday, April 24th, runs through Sunday the 26th. There's 8 p.m. in the evening concerts, and Sunday matinee is at 3 p.m.
So there's 3 concerts.
That's correct.
And how much are tickets?
Tickets are varied prices. The best information is to go to ticketleap.com, or they can go to the SU website.
And are these tickets available in advance?
They are. The best way is to go to ticketleap.com, and they can go on and purchase their tickets through there. And tickets will also be available at the door for all these events.
Now, the Salisbury University chorales, which you direct, are having, when I say chorales, there's 2?
Yes, the University Chorale and the Salisbury Chorale, which is the community chorus.
Okay,
primarily.
and they are continuing the festival on Saturday, May 2nd. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's a continuation of the tribute to Copland and Bernstein. We will be actually repeating 2 numbers from Opera Workshop, the Stomp Your Foot and Promise of Living from the Tenderland. We're adding orchestra with that, and I'm lucky to have Dr. Jeff Schoyen and his wife Sachi Murasugi to be concertmaster and cellist for the orchestra.
Oh, that's great. We'll be talking to Jeff later today, and it's so wonderful that you all share your talents with each other in your different venues. Why were Copeland and Bernstein in particular selected as the opera for the opera workshop and for the chorale concert?
This year is the 25th anniversary of their passing. In 1990, I was in graduate school when that occurred. Also, Copeland was a mentor of Leonard Bernstein, and they were very good friends. And of course, they are tributes to the Americana, music of the Americas. Say that.
Now, do you have any favorite selections that you're going to be performing?
Yes, the centerpiece is Chichester Psalms by Leonard Bernstein, and this is based on a number of the Psalms from Scripture, and highlight is the second movement, Psalm 23rd, the 23rd Psalm, and it's going to be sung by a boy soprano, Braden Binkley, who's a son of one of my adjunct vocal instructors, Ann Binkley.
A student here?
No, he's not a student. He's 12 years old.
Oh, he's young.
Yes,
okay.
it calls for a boy soprano, and so he'll be singing the 23rd Psalm, and underneath that there'll be another song sung by the men and the women.
I guess you don't get many boy sopranos over 12, right?
Not at the university, typically. That's correct.
No, I understand this year's Salisbury Pops concert is on Cinco de Mayo, May 5th.
Yes, right on the day.
And what can we expect from Lee Nyer and his group?
Well, Lee is wonderful for inviting guest soloists and student soloists. He's featuring our student soloist Ben Wilshusen on baritone horn. Also, our faculty member Danielle Cumming is performing with our J1 visa scholar Vendem from Belgium. And then he's featuring Stuart Smith from the Mid-Atlantic Symphony. He's the principal trumpet player. And many different pieces, 2 fandangos. He's also doing the Tijuana Brass Medley at the end. So it's a very eclectic concert. Knowing Professor Nyer, it's going to be very enjoyable to all.
Now, is he bringing in any faculty from, say, SU or UMES?
Yes, we have Israel Butler from UMES, a fairly new hire there. Wonderful player. I've heard him play jazz before, and he'll actually be also playing for me in the Chichester Psalms concert. So we're joining in, collaborating between the 2 universities this year.
That's great. That's great. Now, the SU Jazz Ensemble, directed by Jerry Tabor, continues the festival on May 7th. Now, what does that group have in store for us this year?
That's a wonderful group. Dr. Tabor has told me it's probably one of the best groups he's had. He's going to perform selections such as Sonny Rollins' Pent-Up House and Olio and Bobby Watson's Dream So Real. He's also doing a piece by John Mills called Two Finger Punch, which is really cool. And so it's quite an eclectic group of some jazz standards and popular jazz, and something for everybody again.
Now, Jerry is also a composer himself, isn't he?
He is a wonderful composer, and he actually just came back from sabbatical recently where he's completing a compact disc to go out on Numa Records very shortly. And
how would you describe his style?
I think there's an eclectic aspect. I mean, he's interested in some electronic music, and he deals much in sonnets of how sounds work together in certain chords and clusters of sounds.
Now, all 3 of the concerts that we've talked about so far are going to be held at Holloway Hall at 7:30. Am I correct?
Yes, with one exception. The opera workshop will be in Holloway Hall in the Great Hall.
In the Great Hall.
And then all the others will be in the Holloway Hall Auditorium. That's correct.
And you know, I did mean to ask you to clarify what an opera workshop really is.
Right.
Because I didn't understand when I was reading about it earlier what that meant.
Yeah, it takes 2 forms. Sometimes in opera workshop, depending on if we have the students, we put on full-length operas like Magic Flute we've done in the past, Dido and Aeneas. This year, we put on a collection of works that are operatic in nature. Like Copeland songs are really not opera, but our singers have that vocal ability. And then, of course, the Mass has operatic tendencies. So it varies. Then, of course, he has his famous talk opera that John does every so many years.
Right. Okay. That clears it up for me. So it's not a full opera, but it's sort of pieces of different operas sung in an opera.
That's right, in the opera style and with the opera vocal.
Okay,
sound.
Great. Now, admission to all of these, free?
The 2 free concerts are in the middle of the festival, the Salisbury Pops on Tuesday the 5th and Jazz Ensemble on Thursday the 7th. Those are free. The bookend concerts, there's our fees, and you can find that information on our SU website.
Great.
And also go to ticketleap.com for some of those.
Well, thank you, Bill. I tell you, it's amazing. If anyone can't find something to do this spring, it's their problem because there's so much going on. And we thank you for sharing all the talents of the music department with the rest of our community.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We'll hear about the festival's culminating event, the Salisbury Symphony Orchestra's annual spring concert, in just a moment. But first, here's a look at these and other events happening on the campus in May. My next guest is Dr. Jeff Schoyen, director of the Salisbury Symphony Orchestra. So Jeff, welcome.
Oh, Susan, it's good to see you.
Always good to see you.
Hey, thank you.
You know I love the orchestra, but I think this year is going to be particularly enjoyable because we have some big news. But before we get to that, tell us when and where the orchestra concert will take place.
Okay, the orchestra concert is going to be Saturday, May 9th at 7:30, and it's in Holloway Hall Auditorium.
Holloway Hall, very good.
Yes, yes.
So the theme of this year's concert is?
Well, it's songs from stage and screen. A Broadway Star Comes Home.
And the big news is we have a star this year. Who is the star?
Right, that's right. We're really fortunate to have Jennifer Hope Wills come to sing with us. And we'll be singing a concert that has songs from stage and screen. And it's a Broadway Star Comes Home.
I think that's great. Of course, she's an SU alumna. And
yes.
she's been to Broadway and done all kinds of things. What have been some of her roles on Broadway?
Well, I think she's most famous for being in Phantom of the Opera as Christine for 4 years.
4 years?
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
I mean, what, 7 days a week? Or maybe it's only 6 days a week, but...
Yeah, it just must be incredible.
Yes.
And I was, just checking into it. She was Eileen in Wonderful Town, which is, I believe, a Bernstein show, and in that she was opposite Brooke Shields, and she was in The Woman in White, and also in Beauty and the Beast.
Gosh, will the community have a chance to talk to her at all while she's here?
They sure will. On the day before, on Friday, May 8th, she's doing a question-answer session with students and community members.
Oh, that's great. Where will that be?
Well, it's in the Black Box Theater in Fulton Hall, and that's at 1 o'clock.
Oh,
so she's with my emails back and forth and things like that, she's very, very nice, and I'm sure she's, that she'll be very approachable.
Oh,
so
I'm
that'll
sure.
be fun. Yeah.
Oh, we're so lucky to have her. That's great. What will some of the songs that she'll be singing with you be?
Well, we're still hammering these out, so I can't guarantee any of these, but we're planning to do A Little Bit in Love, which is a Bernstein song. They All Laughed, which is from Shall We Dance? I think it's a movie, maybe from the 40s or 50s. Really neat movie. If I Were a Bell, which I think is from Guys and Dolls. Also The Light in the Piazza, beautiful song. Wishing You Were Somehow Here Again, which is a Phantom song, and that's a really, really nice one. And also The Hills Are Alive with the Sound of Music. And we hope all of those will pan out and work well. So
now, I asked you earlier if you practiced with her, and you said no.
Yeah, well, it is a bit nerve-wracking when we have people come in from out of town, and especially professionals who are busy doing other things. I mean, she may be the weekend before doing she's somewhere else, so it often happens. And so we plan on a Friday evening rehearsal with her. And of course, maybe Friday afternoon I'll be able to get together with her and talk about the scores and things like that. But anyway, Friday evening with the orchestra, and then Saturday morning or afternoon.
And that's it.
And that's it. And then the performance Saturday.
She's a professional. I'm sure it'll be great. And she knows all these songs.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of understanding what your scores are.
Yeah, that's right. So if you kind of do the planning and you make sure you're on the same page, and of course we can talk by telephone. And I've even had I think the last concert I had someone Igor Kolin was by telephone. He was playing the violin and showing we were talking. So it works. It works.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Now you said we're going to have music from the stage, but also from the screen. And I know in your children's concert that you did in March, you featured the scores from Star Wars, Star Trek, and I think Space Odyssey. Is that right?
Yes, we did.
Yes. That was great. What are you going to do this time?
Well, the orchestral part of that are basically pieces that we associate or can associate with different movies or different plays, that sort of thing, or musicals. So we're preparing The Entertainer, which is from The Sting, if you remember that.
Yes.
And I love John Williams, so Raiders March from Raiders of the Lost Ark, Schindler's List with that beautiful violin solo, and Dr. Murasugi Sachi will be playing that. And also, I was, being I guess having the educational component with the students that register for the orchestra as a class. I always like to do something that's a little more serious, and there's a beautiful piece. Beethoven's Seventh Symphony has a famous allegretto, which is just gorgeous, and that was actually in the King's speech.
Oh, it
and
was.
when he's giving that when he's finally able to give that speech,
I
it's the
love that
music
movie.
in the background.
Okay,
So
I
that's
didn't
sort
realize
of
that was Beethoven.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh, that's
yeah.
fantastic.
So, yeah.
So what is the cost of admission?
Well, admission is $25. Seniors are $20, and children and non-SU students are $5.
And can we get these tickets in advance?
Yes, and I was checking on that this morning on the website. I think the easiest way to go is to go to the Salisbury Symphony Orchestra at Salisbury University. Go to that website, and you'll see a little menu on the left, and go to Concert Concierge, and you'll click on that, and then that will take you to tickets, and it's fairly easy from there.
Well, I think people better get your tickets quickly, because this is going to be a huge success, and everyone wants to hear Jennifer Wills. So, and of course the orchestra. We're so lucky to have you and your connections, and it's going to be fabulous. I can't wait. I hope our viewers will take advantage of this great opportunity here in Salisbury.
Well, I look forward to it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you so much, Susan.
Okay. I'm sure many of our viewers are especially excited about this concert and the entire Spring Music Festival. I hope to see some of you in the audience this year. I'm Susan Purnell, and this has been Salisbury University on the Air. Thank you for watching.